do it again. Let's go ahead and hop into this best of 5 series. Game number 1 is ready to go, and the battleground choice has been chosen. We are moving into Infernal Shrines. Bans for today: Fnatic banned Sky Temple, Towers of Doom banned by Zealots.
So Zealots is a lot more flexible when it comes to their ban pattern. They usually try to adapt to the opponent's team, whereas Fnatic is following a path that we have seen from Dignitas and other teams where they just pick one map that they don't want to play and they just eliminate that from the get-go. It has been in the past Dragonshire, now it's Sky Temple that Fnatic bans out. And then if you're looking towards the ban on the Zealot side, Towers of Doom, strong battleground for Fnatic. Fnatic on Towers is currently sitting at 6 wins and 2 losses. Zealots themselves have only 1 win and 3 losses, so it's not the best battleground for them. And so they just looked over to Fnatic and checked, okay, what's a strong battleground for them where we are weak? And they eliminated that. Our first choice, on the other hand, is Infernal Shrines, where especially Fnatic is quite strong, but Zealots is also feeling a lot more comfortable on Infernal Shrines, sitting at 2 wins and 3 losses. Just a little bit of strategy already going into that map ban from Zealots' perspective, and we're going to kick things off with Infernal Shrines.
See what exactly Fnatic intends to pick up here. Last time we saw him was Battleground. One, we saw a lot of Stukov from Smexy, playing incredibly well on the hero, as you were mentioning. And he'll be facing off against Shad, the Stukov main, if you will, really bringing him into HGC Europe. But they ran a Hanzo comp with ETC lockdown and a Thrall to poke from the side.
Smexy is currently just hands down the best Stukov player in the entire HGC Europe. He has 8 wins on the hero and only a single loss. No one else comes even close to that at this point. But we're heading into our draft with a ban on Garrosh, and we're also seeing Medivh being banned out here. So there's a couple of things, of course, to observe again. As he said, Stukov is also incredibly popular with Zealots. I mean, it was Admiral Gonzalez himself who brought the hero into the meta with great success. So we have to watch out for who picks Stukov up, since he hasn't found himself in the first 2 bans. Very likely that we're going to see him in this game.
Where's Tracer going to be? Tracer's been banned out in a lot of our matches, at least being in the pick/ban side when it comes to actually being in our HGC drafts. Will Zealots pick it up early here, or do we think that we'll grab tanks early instead?
It's an interesting choice because Fnatic has shown some Tracer play, but they've only shown 1 single game in HGC where they actually played with Tracer, and that game they lost. So it's a bit unlikely that they are going to pick Tracer up. Pretty sure it's in their arsenal, but it's not really a choice where they say, okay, this is our go-to. Then again, you have on the other side Zealots, who have so far 3 games with Tracer, all of them victories. So not the biggest sample size, but still very successful with it. But every single time we see Infernal Shrines, and especially Breeze, it all comes down to Diablo. And very few teams are willing to give Breeze Diablo. So in this case, Zealots are going even for first pick on him, and Fnatic, instant counter, Hanzo ETC. Hands on.
Very similar open to what we had last week. They had Stukov instead of the ETC, but ETC was a part of their lineup, so now they have their engage that they want, being able to force a fight. ETC is that 3rd pickup warrior that you normally see from Fnatic. It's usually Garrosh, Diablo, depending on the battleground, and then ETC, as mentioned. So Fnatic set up pretty well here in their 1-2. Zealots now on their 2nd and 3rd. Will they move into Stukov themselves here? Will they possibly get up Tracer and grab the Mythfurion instead?
I mean, to me, I just want to come back to Diablo for a second, because it's actually funny. We always talk about Breeze on the hero, and we have seen games at the mid-season, at the Western Clash, and in the league where he just excels and embodies teams single-handedly. But then you look at the stats, and they have a 100% win ratio on Diablo, but they only have 3 games. So it really shows that every team on a map where Diablo excels is just taking it away from them. They get very few opportunities to actually play the hero. But now we have Stukov, as you said. It is a good choice for Zealots, it's a great choice for Chad, and they pick Junkrat with it now too. So we have a lot of displacement already happening here.
Yeah, the Junkrat coming in there. As mentioned, we were talking about that Tracer, but it looks like Zealots is prioritizing this Junkrat a little bit more, helping out with the poke on the wave clear, and also trying to fight over the Shrine. If they're able to get that engage they want, should be able to lay them. They can finish up that pick later for their Assassin, depending on what they want to move into. Fnatic thinking about hovering this Maiev as a ban. We have seen it from ADRD in the past. He's willing to play the hero.
It's also another great choice, or would be a great choice for Zealots, considering that they have Apocalypse and a Silence to follow up a Cage. So definitely a good thought on the side of Fnatic. There's a few other heroes that they could also target here, but it feels like Maiev is going to be the pick.
Yeah, and you want to make sure they don't get that deadly combo that we always talk about every week that Caldor loves the name of. The Riptire and the Warden's Cage. What's that called, Caldor?
Oh, you mean that sexual innuendo that you throw out every now and then?
It's not. Okay. Greymane.
And that's how you shut that down.
Gets banned. And Trickster never spoke about that combo again.
Greymane ban, targeting the hero pool of Quacknix immediately. And we've seen Quacknix on his Medivh, we've seen him in Grey main, so both of them are already eliminated here. And we've seen Fnatic even deviate into Lunara on the Battlefield of Eternity the last time that Quacknix hero pool was targeted. So he still has, of course, a couple. But another reason why Grey main is also banned out, just to highlight that real quickly, it's not only because they're saying, well, we want to target Quack's hero pool a little bit, but if you run a Diablo and you know that we have ETC already in the mix, you are a bit afraid of potential one-shots coming in, especially if Fnatic puts another mage into play like Li Ming or Gul'dan that can follow up after a cursed bullet hits home and the stun is there.
We have seen Quack in the past dabble in the Hanzo. Do you think the Tychus might work here for them to be picked up for Fnatic to help out against Diablo? And we can throw Melee on top of that?
It just feels that Tychus is a hero that in Europe not many teams really respect, and he isn't really played a whole lot, which is quite surprising if you think about the hit point heavy tanks that we have at these front lines right now. But Europe just doesn't believe that Tychus is a strong enough pick. I would say that on Infernal Shrine he becomes even stronger simply because of Odin, where you are pretty easily in a position where you can pick up the last few minions, but mostly the European teams are moving away from Tychus. I mean, just to give you a bit of an idea, Tychus has so far in Europe seen roughly 30 games of play, 28 to be exact, and he's sitting at a 32% win ratio. So he just doesn't find the results. He has 9 wins and 19 losses, and then that just puts him into a spot where even though in theory he is a great choice, he just doesn't get the wins in from the European playstyle, so a lot of teams just have moved away from him. And instead we're seeing Karazim again taken, and also Leoric, and we heard already Karazim with a 7-side is of course another fantastic tool against Diablo.
Especially with the way Fnatic's been playing lately, trying to find a target and delete them before they even have a chance to answer back at the team fight. Zealots may need some more protection here to make sure that that does not occur. Let's see what their 4th and 5th pick is going to be. They have a Sonya and a Genji coming out, and I like that Genji pick. There's still a possibility that Quacknix can move into that Genji for that 5th pick, and taking that away prevents him from getting it.
Now, I would normally see Mene again on Hanzo, but they can also play Quacknix on the hero. If they want to throw a mage into the mix now, if they want to give maybe Gul'dan over to Mene, then Hanzo could definitely be played by Quacknix. So there's a bit of flexibility and an overlap in hero pools that we see from the Swedes, but it's definitely an interesting pick here to find out what they're going to try and do with that. I personally think that if they go into Gul'dan, that would actually be a solid pickup for them.
Yeah. Genji over steps, you got that Warfighter to handle him, Sonya as well. Pretty decent poke. You
also,
have the follow up on the mosh pit.
Next to Tracer, Gul'dan is currently actually the most successful damage dealer in HGC Europe, sitting at a 59% win ratio, 29 wins and 20 losses. So very respectable for such a big sample size that we have here. But we have the bird, so we see Quacknix on Falstad. So we have a potential combo with an Entomb into a Mighty Gust that could be used here by them.
That's a Falstad into a Genji though.
Yeah, and we talked about that
yesterday.
Exactly, that battle, that dynamic between the two, we talked about that quite a bit. So he has to be super careful of Genji. I'm a bit surprised. I really could have seen Quacknix jumping on Hanzo and Mena throwing in a mage.
Looks like they are electing to try and just delete a target and then Mighty Gust away if that doesn't work out for them. Falstad does fit in that role pretty well, so it's more of a shot-calling type of pick here for Quacknix, and something that he's played in the past. He used to be one of our favorite Falstads to watch here in the HGC, so it is good to see it come back. Again, I'm just worried from that dive. Genji's able to get on the Falstad. It's going to be a hard time for them to make sure he stays alive, so they're my pin.
Entomb into Hinterland Blast, 7-sided.
Is that the dream?
I don't think we're going to see that.
That's the dream. I like it. I'm sold.
I mean, to be fair, with the Hinterland Blast, you would probably hit a couple, like a lot of targets in that setup around shrines. But that's normally not why you pick Falstad. He's more the utility hero that you want.
Yeah, trying to get that Mighty Gust.
Disengage.
Separation. Maybe try to go for a big play towards the end with the wind tunnel. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Game number 1. Fnatic taking on Zealots. Our number 2 and number 3 seed fighting in this matchup.
And it's game on. Infernal Shrine's our first map, and we're heading into the match between Fnatic and the Zealots. And to the left side, it's Mene on Hanzo as expected. Bad Benny finds himself on Leoric. We see Breeze on ETC, Quacknix on the Bird, and Smexy on Karazim.
On the right, in the red, Mopsio playing Diablo, Chris on Genji, Zarmany on Sonya, ADRD on Junkrat, and Chad to play Stukov.
Yeah, and ADRD, he got an extra sound effect there. I mean, like, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, man, you got like a tidal wave coming in there. Dang, dude.
ADRD, the mad scientist himself, finds himself
I do miss, like, the GSL, like, Street Fighter-esque voices that used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
We need to bring that into
Definitely
Heroes, man.
Street Fighter voice is back coming in. AGRD on Junkrat, the mad scientist playing the Joker. Like, I don't know.
Smexy on a money pig, playing Karazim, intending to punch people.
Looking good, great skin as well. We need the voice from the Honest trailer, guys.
Yeah.
That's definitely the best voice to make any introduction. But also, Zomni gets introduced to a new level of pain here as he gets caught in the early game a little bit with the rotation. But there's no kill happening for Fnatic yet. So they're heavily pushing the top lane right now. We have Zealots with the rotation coming in. The question is, can Fnatic move out of this? They have the mobility, but if Smexy is silenced, then he's going to be in trouble. Nice play here from Admiral Gonzalez from Shad on his Stukov, but still Smexy is able to get out. Quacknix rotated in, trying to see if he can maybe help out his teammates. Just a little bit of an early game skirmish where Fnatic was able to put extra pressure onto the towers at the top lane.
Yeah, but that kind of shows Fnatic's game plan here. They're not intending to try and fight in the early stages. They're not wanting to get those even fights. They are looking to try and break down some towers. Karazim bringing that Iron Fist in there allows for some really solid single target DPS damage, and they almost got that turret taken in the top right corner, which would have given them a decent chunk of experience. So Fnatic looking to dance around this map here, and already they're doing so as they grab his bottom mercenary camp, and Zealots, while they grab their right side, will have to respawn soon.
Yeah, and also with level 4, of course, coming in, and we're looking at the first shrine here. I also want to give you a bit of an idea of Falstad, just how much he has fallen off. Falstad has only been played 14 times in HGC Europe this year. And we have seen 162 games, so that's a pretty small percentage for the bird. Fnatic has played him once in the past, and that was actually a success, so they currently sit at 100% win ratio with him. But that's Fnatic we're talking about, a team that has played Falstad more than anyone else in the past when they were infamous for their massive global style. But recently they're starting to bring him back again. And of course, especially towards the later stages of the game, Quacknix with these auto attacks after level 13 with a Giant Killer can really start threatening Diablo in his hit point pool, especially if he gets a Seasoned Marksman stacks up.
Yeah, a lot of those numbers for that Falstad came in week 1 through week 3, I believe, and that's where he started to fall off really heavily. I mean, we got our first Falstad in a while yesterday with Maki playing up for Trick Esports, so it's interesting to have 2 Falstads in the weekend.
Yep.
We'll see how this does pay off as Fnatic sets up the Merc camp to the top left, and Sony already doing the same to the top right for Zealots. The Shrine will be activating in the middle, so that's where we'll have our first fight. I am curious here. I'm looking at Fnatic, and they have decent wave clear, and they have pretty decent poke on turrets. I'm wondering if they're actually going to give this up and try and push a different lane and get that experience lead.
I mean, they could try and go for a side lane push. The one thing you also have to recognize here is that when we look at ETC, normally what Fnatic does is they run a combo where they have additional lockdown after an ETC power slide. Malfurion is one of the tools that they oftentimes use. Smexy, of course, with Stukov, oftentimes providing that silence as well. But this time, they're actually lacking that tool, so they are only relying on Breeze's power slide, and then they have to put the damage in. So it makes it a bit harder for them to snipe a specific target. We're talking about sniping things, they're already trying to go for mobs here. Yeah, Junkrat with the displacement, here comes the silence on cooldown now, but we have Breeze low, and so is Quacknix, and Breeze is trying to move away. Smexy with a heal, but that might not be enough.
Breeze power slides out. Mopsio, does he have the Shadow Charge? Does it look like he's going to need it? Doesn't matter. Chris comes in with a sweep strike and is able to get a kill, looking for a second. Another pick on Bad Benny. And it looks like maybe a third. No, Falstad's able to barrel roll out. But right there with a display of exactly how weak Falstad can be in a direct fight. Ooh, wow. Fnatic able to turn that around and get a kill on Genji for stepping forward a little bit. One swift strike from Genji put Falstad in a position where he was down to a quarter health, and we had to peel away. And ETC was left by himself in the top right corner, and that's how eventually we had the damage pop out on top of Breeze and force him to retreat.
Yeah, we had adjustments on Falstad with the level 4 talent, but we don't see it here. Smexy wants to go in for Mopsio, but he doesn't quite confirm the kill yet. He's trying to keep the rest of his team alive. Mena jumps out as Harmony is going in for the spin to win, trying to connect. Here comes Breeze, though, pushing him out of position. And we have the Punisher picked up by Zealots. Fnatic was only 2 minions away from taking it for themselves, but they couldn't make it happen. Benny barely getting behind, oh my god, behind the wall here. He nearly fell. And now that Junkrat is starting to throw grenades over, Mena is also extremely low. That's going to be a tough defense for Fnatic.
And it will be. Mena is able to stay alive thanks to a heal from Smexy, and they'll be able to clear up this Punisher. But the turrets should be going down from Zealots, and they'll be able to grab that experience lead, especially with Sonya already being in the top lane and pushing in. So we find ourselves in a situation where Zealots, and a close fight over the Punisher, by the way, grab the Punisher, grab some experience lead, and then continue to look to grab more.
That was an insanely close call. Fnatic was only 2 minions away from taking it for themselves, but this early game is already showcasing how much Fnatic, at least early on, is going to struggle here. Once that we have a couple of these quest talents progressing, especially, of course, Brockrock for Breeze and Falstad with the Seasoned Marksman, there's a good chance for Fnatic to be more effective in these team fights, but right now they have a tough time breaking through the Zealots. And all that random damage that comes out from AD with his Junkrat, all the grenades coming in, and then Genji capitalizing on low HP heroes with Thrift Strikes and resets, that's really dangerous with how low the hero pool, the hit point pool of most of Fnatic heroes is. Hanzo, Falstad, Leoric also being targeted a lot here at the front.
A lot of the scariness from Fnatic in this early game is actually coming from Karazim. Spexy's getting in there, breaking out that damage. He's already up to 5k already, right behind Hanzo, who has 6k. Trying to force these fights and doing a pretty good job of also securing that kill on Genji earlier. So we'll keep an eye on Smexy while we wait for those quest towns to finish up. And that's when we'll have that Falstad come in, as you were mentioning. Back over to Zealots, though, they've been doing a really good job of keeping this map open. Move up to 9.5, and they're on their way towards level 10, especially with that top wave and middle wave available for soaking. Zealots pretty decently in the lead here as we head to mid-game.
Yeah, I mean, we still will see the next try fought over by both teams on level 10, and that's what Fnatic really wants here. The level 10 abilities are going to change a lot, since the utility is going to be there. You have the Entomb combo into the Mighty Gust, always, of course, assuming that we're not seeing much of the Black King being chosen here. But Zealots, as you correctly pointed out, will hit the level 10 first, and that's what's happening just now. We have Genji waiting things out. X-Strike is a good option for him, could go into the Dragon Blade, but he doesn't have that Divine Shield that we oftentimes see with it. So X-Strike is now chosen on the side of Chris.
Now what heroic are we getting for Karazim? Instantly a 7-sided strike. I was going to say a palm could be doable, but it's really hard to read when Genji's wanting to come in there and land that palm, so I like the 7 strike here. Just wanting to try to deal with that front line that Zealots have. Both Sonya and Diablo prime targets for trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, now we have CC tools, for example. We have the power slide, we have the Hanzo arrow to follow things up. We can see a setup with a good Entomb. Like, even an Entomb against Diablo, a quick Mighty Gust and then a 7-sided strike is more or less a guaranteed kill against Diablo if everybody collapses onto him. So there's a lot of things that Fnatic can now do if they have the synergy to pull it off. And that's something they showcased on Friday in their previous game against Method, that they are really on point now with these calls and those snap decisions. And this is what I want to see from them now. And Zealots, they will have to deal with that, but they themselves, of course, have a big arsenal of tools to use here, especially around chat with the silence.
Also, Wrath there for Sonya, making it much easier for Sonya to make sure she can stick around and not deal with that CC as much. And let's watch as we fight over the shrine to the south. Already, both the teams have primed that top lane to push in. Falstad in a position to clear that out and actually take advantage of that lane, thanks to the global ability. He can fly down at any point and try and force a fight with the team. HGC is rooted from ADRD, and that'll give Zealots a nice amount of a lead, 10-0 in minion control, as Zealots aim to grab this Punisher.
The bird is flying down, a bit of deep push happening at the top before Quacknix joins the fun, but now they are trying to fight for the Punisher.
Arrow.
Here comes the arrow, and it doesn't hit anything. Man, and missing it completely. Zealots realizing it's coming, and then dodging. Now Junkrat creating some space here, but you have Smexy already going straight for ADRD. Good move by him. Here comes the Gust. They're trying to go for Zarmony. They're not quite getting him yet, though. Good effort by Fnatic, but not really having a result there.
Not having the result that they wanted. Shad also dropping down the sounds, making sure to control the space. And Zealots, after missing an arrow and not able to kill Sonya, despite using Mosh Pit and Entomb, will get the Punisher.
Now, one of the things that I liked from Fnatic's perspective, as Zealots picks up that Punisher and is now aggressively pushing through the bot lane, is that Smexy moved into ADRD once that the Riptire got used. That actually forced him to blow the Riptire up and move out, because the thought process for ADRD was not to go in and get some quick damage done. He wanted to zone Fnatic out, and he couldn't do that because Smexy reacted that quickly.
And he has to completely respect that too. If suddenly a couple hits come in, he gets down to half health, the 7-sided strike will definitely clean him up. Mopsio gets entombed, and we're going to have a Karazim 7-sided strike. ADRD steps up to take some of that damage for him. Mopsio able to power slide out, or shadow charge out, thanks to Bad Biddy, but maybe it's not enough as a kill comes in. Chris looking to clean up though as he goes in straight for Smexy. Mighty Gust to disengage, and Fnatic finds a kill.
Good coordination from Fnatic here, but also a dangerous one. You could see how much Shad could impact that approach of going against Diablo. Fnatic was looking for the quick kill, and they couldn't get it because Shad was immediately there with a lurking arm and trying to just negate the entire effort. But then Smexy with the mobility could just chase him down and get Diablo here. So it was super important for them to get that kill. And even though they lost that fort, let's not forget that during all of this, the top camp has actually pushed very aggressively.
Yeah.
We saw Zealots rotate someone up top, I think it was Sonya, to make sure that she can defend. But that fort has taken severe damage.
And that's where Falsa comes in to be a really effective hero. Being able to be in that top lane, clearing it out with that boomerang, always threatening the idea of a slight split push with the ability to come into a lightning rod. He can clean up that fort, so Zealots have to respond to that, and they put 2 up here, Junkrat and Sonya, which may open the map up a little bit later on for some invades from the ETC to grab that power slide and try to force an engagement, and Fnatic can get kills there.
So now we have level 13 in play, and that of course is when when Leoric with the Ominous Raid is starting to really have an impact. It's also when the synergy between Falstad's level 1 and level 13 finally hits, and this is going to make the life of Mopsio a bit more difficult, since Giant Killer can now really chunk down that hit point pool. We also have 15 stacks on Breeze with Prog Rock, so he is a few away from completing his own quest. But let's talk a bit about Quacknix here. 19 stacks on Seasoned Marksman. So he needs another 21 to complete the quest, but even at this point already, he's starting to really hurt with these auto attacks. So Mopsio has to consider that when he starts to move out aggressively.
He has to consider a lot, an Entomb into a Drain Hope, into Hanzo damage, falls a Giant Killer, and here's a moment where Diablo gets focused down, and that's where Fnatic can destroy a target.
This is the combo that we've been talking about earlier. And Quacknix even going for the Gust, just saying, better safe than sorry. It's a short cooldown. Why would I risk anything here? Let's just blow that beast up. And that's what they did. Of course, it was helped by the fact that Mopsio is only sitting at 20 souls at this point. So Mopsio didn't have the 100, but you can tell how strong this isolation is. Entomb, Gust, 7-sided, and then you have the auto attacks of Falstad, you have the Drain Hope of Leoric. There's just simply too much, and Mopsio had no chance there. Gets blown up immediately. That's a few more stacks on the side of Falstad, for example, and it also allows Fnatic to take even more map control.
And they're closing the gap in that experience these Zealots have. They're right behind them now, thanks to a couple of kills and being able to soak, as you mentioned, continuing to power up to this mid to late game. And it looks like we're going to have 16 for both of our teams as we go into the third Shrine phase for the Punisher. Night Camp's already grabbed. Zealots has theirs pushing the top, so Fnatic can wait a little bit longer here so they can have that counter push later on. And I'll Falstad make sure to empower that later.
Yeah, Fnatic's thought process was pick it a bit later than the opponent, then you have an easier time defending, and the top will push again, which is what they want to do in the first place. Falstad, on the other hand, has not taken the top. He's actually moving down to the bot lane instead, so they're not defending the top just yet. It's all about the soak, exactly. We already have 16 around the corner for Zealots. They're trying to get the early lead, but it's Fnatic who takes the first few minions. Falstad flying in right now. They're starting to fight again, but the Entomb does not hit anything. Benny needs to be careful. He's really low, and Genji could confirm the kill. Doesn't do that just yet, but he still needs to retreat and top up his hit point pool.
Yeah, he'll be able to heal up here soon, especially if he hits that drain lane. Mopsio goes in for a power slide, and he's going to get hit here as Breeze comes with the mosh pit, and they put everything into Diablo, and Diablo had no chance to escape. Mene comes in with the punish as Diablo tries to back away with the Dragon's Air.
Fantastic angle by Quacknix for the Mighty Gust there. Extremely well played. And also, great play by Breeze, going in and pushing Diablo back into the 7-sided. So a quick kill against Diablo here. Mopsio definitely struggling in that situation, wanted to put the pressure onto Quacknix, tried to get the reset with the domination, pushing him into the rest of the team, but that was negated immediately. Great play by Fnatic. They see an opportunity, they jump on it, and now they have the Punisher pushing for themselves. Zealots giving up the fort. They themselves, with more experience, now grabbed at the bot lane, thanks to AD already, but they need to wait for the 5-man now to defend again and bait the Punisher over the wall.
It's just wonderful to watch 5 players be on the same page, and Fnatic in the last 4 or 5 minutes in this game have been on the same page. Finding a target, destroying it, willing to disengage afterwards, not prolonging the fight at all. They know they've won it at that point, and they've gotten the third Punisher because of it, and they look to open up the map more. Already in the top lane, taking down a fort. Falstad's back to the south here, working on that Marksman stack at now almost 30 stacks right now, so he is close to finishing that Seasoned Marksman. Yeah,
he's doing really well here, and Prog Rock, of course, is by now completed. Zealots, on the other hand, they still have this threat potential, where they can, with a good combo on the side of Diablo and a Silence, put anyone in harm's way. So here comes again that setup. Quacknix is a little bit late to the party, but it's enough damage regardless. Here come the Zealots, though, and they're taking down Leoric. The reset on Genji as he's trying to make it a double. Not quite working out for them, but at least the chance for them to equalize in a good trade on a one-on-one. But let's keep in mind that the trade of Leoric is going to bring him back a bit faster.
And Zealots are adapting. You actually notice it there. I mean, obviously, while he gets caught out and the entomb into the 7th strat it comes out, we had Genji step up and try to deflect some of that damage that was coming in. And if they're able to stop a little bit of the damage hitting Diablo, if they can save him, they'll be able to turn the fight around.
Another big point with this was, though, that Quacknix wasn't there when it happened. He was still soaking. They didn't expect this opportunity to occur right in front of them. And then when he was flying in, he didn't have the angle for a good Mighty Gust. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of the shots of the 7-sided were tanked by other players on the side of the Zealots. And a super important move here for sure. But we've talked a lot about damage, and when we're currently looking at the damage output, we have Falstad on 11k. Doesn't really sound like much, but it's really that on-point target damage where he is able to chunk them down heavily.
That's usually been a theme with the latest Fnatic that we've been watching, is they might not have the highest damage numbers, but it's because they don't have to. They have effective damage. They get kills, and then they're out. And that's what's so impressive to see here, is that coordination. Like, we look at Mopsio, and right now, he has 4 deaths, but can you really blame him? The coordination's too good from Fnatic.
Exactly. Mopsio has to be playing a little bit more defensive. And as a Diablo player, you want to be in your opponent's face.
Yeah.
You are the hero that wants to make the play and set it up, so you can't really blame him here. But he needs to be a bit careful with some of the dives that we've seen. But you raised a really good point. The effective damage that we have on Fnatic's side. In the series against Method, we saw that every now and then, where they, in comparison to Method, had no damage whatsoever. But every single time they went in and pushed damage on their opponent, it resulted in a kill. So the effective damage was really important there.
That's right, kids. At home, damage numbers do not mean everything. You might have 200k damage on a Chromie, but if you're not getting kills, you're probably losing the game.
Exactly.
Fnatic at 19.25 right now, 18.5 here for Zealots. So about a level away, Fnatic can hit that 20, and we'll be having a 4th Punisher coming up pretty soon for them as well. So they're going to play it pretty safe here, just relax a little bit, try to get that 20, and not overstep their bounds.
But Fnatic still has to be careful. We talked about Zealots and their composition quite a lot, and once that those resets start coming in for Genji, there could be a lot of kills with the low hit point heroes that we have on Fnatic's side. So they still need to be careful. And they're playing this safe right now. Benny not even engaging into the battle here. He's staying mounted. He's making sure that he can always walk away. They have a bit of vision down here at the bot lane. Quacknix not leaving that gate either. They all know that they are waiting for 20. They allow Zealots to take a bit of map control. But as the Shrine is now active at the top, Leoric has already taken the monster duty, has taken the first few stacks here, and the rest of Fnatic is still just saying, boys, play that calm, play it quiet, play it slow, and make sure that we get that 20.
Bad Bunny has some time here to even clear out a few more minutes where he has to back up. Fnatic's been doing a really good job of keeping an eye on where Zealots currently are, and with them heading to the top right corner. And if Fnatic losing track of them, Leo will go ahead and back up. Zarmi shows the top right, and that should indicate that we can have a little bit more minions picked up here for Fnatic. But again, it's all about that level 20, which they're about to grab here in the middle lane with Hanzo clearing that out.
Yeah, the bird is going to fly into the mid lane now, but this is an easy Punisher. This is an easy Punisher for Fnatic. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Zealots, they are not even contesting it. They know that they can't. Fnatic has been playing this smart, they've been playing it slow. Zealots were trying to see if there's maybe a mistake they can capitalize on, but that wasn't the case. So the game plan for the Zealots has changed. Now they are trying to get level 20, so that when the Punisher pushes in, they can at least defend on even talents. That's the idea that we're now seeing. And just as we're heading into that fight, just to give you guys a few numbers, Mopsio currently on 92 souls, so very close to the 100, very hit point heavy, and we have a Falstad on 39 stacks on his Season Marksman. So with that minion wave that is now pushing out, he should be able to complete his quest, and then we're going to see him also with the activatable where he gets the extra attack speed out.
Chris was able to grab 20 in the south lane, so Zealots now are primed to actually set up a defense. Rat pops here as they work on dealing with Punisher. Bad Benny comes in, has that Entomb available if he can land it here on Diablo, and he does. He'll be able to wind tunnel it out. We also have the Punisher about to have a stun. Sonya taking the damage here on the front line. The stun comes out and locks down Diablo, but he has that regen coming in.
Yeah, not quite the clean engage that Fnatic was looking for. That didn't really work out the way they intended it to, and the keep is still there. Defensive arrow used by Hanzo, just making sure that nobody can chase them down. Fnatic knows that at this point they are still looking for pickoffs, and they have with Falstad now still the global available. So they are going to look for Entomb and the cooldown again. They're going to look for the Mighty Gust, and they're going to look for an opportunity here. But outside of that, Fnatic is just not willing to fight if they don't have to.
And Zealots now with level 20 are feeling a little bit more confident. Jump on the map and run to their opponent's mercenary camps, knowing that some of the cooldowns are down for Fnatic.
And talking about abilities, we have Epiphany taken on level 20 now by Karazim. So not only about mana, but the 2 dashes that you get, the 2 Radiant dashes, super important here for the mobility and also the chase potential that we have on the side of Karazim. And so far, Smexy has played a fantastic game. He's done really well, confirmed 2 kills by himself and sits at 20,000 damage, which is nearly twice the amount of what we're seeing from Bad Benny and Falstad.
And that really accentuates that level 16 that he picked up there on the Karazim, moving straight into that way of the 100 Fist. If there is a position where Junkrat maybe misses custom mine the way he wants to, he can chase him down with that Epiphany coming on level 20, so I like that. It allows Karazim to become more assassin-based. Fnatic, still playing safe here, but finally getting to a point where they have their cooldowns, so they're starting to group up a little bit. Bad Benny lurking in the gosh, what I'm looking for, the words, the shadows. Shadows? Shoulders. I don't know why shoulders came to mind. Lurking in the shadows. Want to come in with an entomb, get a silence, and kill a target.
I'm personally quite curious to see how the next few fights go, because we are absolutely tight in this first game, and I am loving it. We have maybe a few more structures on the map for Fnatic. They still hold the fort in the middle and the top. But outside of that, there's not a single keep that has been eliminated yet. So we are 20 minutes into this game, and both teams are really neck to neck here. 5 kills against 3, and it couldn't be any closer.
Genji on the bottom right, Sonya in the middle, waiting for Leo to possibly come in, but they are playing incredibly safe. Zealots, that is, they sit next to their fort.
Now, there's another thing to consider here. The longer this game goes, the more stacks we're going to see for Quacknix. And he's at 48 stacks already. So once that he's really starting to hit those 60s, for example, the damage output on him on single targets, it's going to be pretty crazy. So that's something where especially the front line has to be careful. And it's just going to continue. He's wave clearing the entire time. He's sitting at 49 right now, so super important here that Zealots keep an eye on him. And especially Genji is going to try to put some extra pressure on him later on to make sure that he doesn't get those free hits against Diablo that they're trying to prevent here.
I still really enjoy how safe Zealots are playing, making sure there is no opportunity for Fnatic to catch them out of position. They are going to force this fight around the shrine. That's where they want to have the engagement so they can have eyes on their opponents and have the best possible fight. They actually set up a bit of a gank here on the left. Power Sight comes out. Breeze goes for the instant mosh pit, and Mopsio has no chance. Absolutely deleted. Looks like we might have Sonya be next. Breeze is going to have the Power Sight for a couple seconds, but it doesn't matter. Karazim comes in with the final punch.
Quick double kill here for Fnatic, and they are going in again, and Karazim once more confirming another. Diablo is back, but Junkrat is now also dying, and Diablo without souls is not going to make any plays here. Karazim is just racking with his damage, 29k on him, and of course the damage output that we mentioned earlier on Forster is absolutely on point with these hits. 51 stacks for him. Fnatic moving to the top lane. They are looking to end the game here if they get an opportunity. It's all about the defense now, but we have Fnatic waiting for a camp that even pushes through the top lane. They're in a fantastic spot to get this first win in the series.
And they pair well with the Mercenaries that are pushing the top lane. There they are, so now they can start moving towards that core. 20 seconds before Sony's even up. 2 are up for Zealots. Can they defend? Chris is trying to slow down the minions in the back left so we can have the damage from the core actually hitting Fnatic, but Fnatic putting all their damage straight in the core. Breeze with Power Sight on Diablo, cutting him backwards. Mane jumps over the wall, goes straight for the core, dropping down to 80. And Quacknix with the wind tunnel says, get out of here. You got no defense. Fnatic wanting to get a big victory here in game number 1, and they'll snatch it away from Zealots. A 1-0.
Fnatic taking the lead with a great kill again, starting it off against